Welcome to Safe and Sound, sponsored by White Mountain Fire and Life Safety. We're going to break real quick to watch a video, and when we come back, we'll introduce you to our guests.
What is it you think we're doing?
24 hours a day, emergency services personnel work hard to save lives and make our roads safer. Please give us room to work and slow down, because it's no picnic out here.
So today on the show, we have Commander McNiel with the Show Low Police Department, and we have Fire Marshal Kelley Wood with the Pinetop Fire Department. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Allison.
So we came on the show to actually discuss this video and, this situation. And first off, let's just tell what is the website where we got this video?
The website where we got it from was the respondersafety.com.
Okay.
It's a organization that's trying to get the word out to make sure that people slow down, let people know what we do on scenes, and also that it's deadly out there.
Yeah, because it's not a picnic, right?
It's not a picnic.
It would be nice.
It would be nice, but it's not.
So have you guys, and you're dealing with this, do you deal with this up here? Are people not slowing down?
We deal with it quite a bit.
Really?
So, yes.
Wow.
All the time.
What's their excuse? Just curious, I didn't know.
A lot of people are not aware that there is a state statute for that, to move over when there's emergency vehicles working in the roadway.
Now, is that only specific to emergency vehicles, or is
No,
that
it's
anything?
not. It's
Okay.
any vehicle with flashing lights.
Okay, so
Doesn't necessarily mean
It
top
can be a tow
lights.
truck,
It could be a tow truck. It could be somebody
ambulance.
pulled off. It could be somebody pulled off the side of the road with their emergency
their
flashers.
hazards on.
Slow down, because you never know what's going to happen.
Okay, so it's even with emergency personnel coming behind you, you got to slow down and pull over.
Sure, that's the
They're
same.
off to the side of the road working a scene. You have to slow down and
Right.
and just get over. If you can't get over, we talked about this earlier.
If you can't get over, slow down.
Slow down. And what we decide that speed
I
was?
believe it says, and I'm not sure exactly how it's stated, but I believe it says all the billboards and signs that we see, it says slow down or move over. And now I've seen a couple of them that also do say slow down and move over as you're going by.
And what's the fine if somebody doesn't do that?
I hope it's hefty.
Is it?
They're pretty much all hefty.
Really?
Good. I'm glad they are. I mean, I don't know what they are, but
I don't specifically know either.
Okay.
I mean, I can look that up and we can get that at a later time, but just for a speed citation, 1 to 10 over starts at $230. So I can imagine this starts in the same ballpark.
Eventually people will start owning cop vehicles. Paid for it.
Sponsored by.
Yeah, exactly. Now, with that, you've been seeing it up here. What are some of the we haven't had anybody hit, luckily, up here, have we? Or close calls, or
we've had some very close calls.
very close calls.
Yes. People not paying attention, people distracted
Cell
on their
phone?
phones. I've actually had people drive by on a scene with me directing traffic and them have their cell phone out the window like this, driving by, filming it.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not good at all. I mean,
No.
it doesn't matter.
Well, and it's HIPAA
It's-
too
it's-
if they
it's
see
a
somebody, right?
It's a distraction, and they're going full speed.
And they're going full speed.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, see, but in my family, you're not allowed to text and drive. You'll get yelled at. Because I don't want my kids doing it when
I
they're old enough to drive.
understand,
I mean, it's scary. The worst accidents I've ever seen were texting and driving,
Yes.
by far.
Yes.
So the fire department has had close calls. How about PD? Have you guys had some close
We've
calls?
had a couple of close calls.
But thank goodness nobody's been injured here yet.
Right.
Well, that's typically to the emergency personnel paying attention.
And jumping out of the way.
Absolutely.
Will they call it in and be like, hey, this person didn't see us, and you go after them, or?
So we do a couple things, absolutely. If for our side of the house, if we have an officer available, we'll say, hey, somebody in the area, get this car. But we actually run details every now and then. So we look for the move over law and the yielding to emergency vehicles.
and seeing if they do that. Yeah, that irritates me when people don't pull over. I mean, I have a great system in my car. Sometimes I don't hear it till last night, but I always pull over. If I know I'm gonna get over and I'll come to a stop.
That's another thing is people have not gotten used to. Well, they used to do it all the time. Is when you learn to drive, you learn to check your mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
How many seconds? 5.
Right.
As
It's
much
supposed
as
to be
you
every
can.
5 seconds. You're supposed to be checking. That is on the books, and
Yeah.
in the driving book it says you're supposed to be checking your mirrors every 5 seconds.
Yeah, I need to bump that up a little bit more.
And most people don't do that.
No.
They don't, and that's another problem. With emergency vehicles coming up behind you, the cars today are so sound,
You don't hear it.
quiet. They won't hear them until they get right up on them.
Or the music's really loud.
Yeah.
We could reduce a ton of our accidents up here just on the things that we're talking about today.
Sure.
People get so used to their driving habits, just as Kelley said, they forget to check their mirrors. I remember my father teaching me when I was learning how to drive, defensive driving. It's
Yes.
not on the roadway. You're scanning for other things that can come out, jump out, barriers that you can't see, somebody anticipating to beat you out on a turn. I mean, we see this all the time. And you see it in your personal vehicles of people trying to pull up to a stoplight, and Wolford's a big accident area in 260 for us, there by the theater,
Yes.
of people trying to beat the traffic, making a left-hand turn, or trying to beat the traffic and make their right-hand turn off of Wolford. And we just have so many accidents there, and it's completely to impatience and inattention.
And all preventable.
All of them. All accidents are preventable.
Yeah, there's no such thing as an accident anymore. Even when we get paged out, it's now a motor vehicle crash instead of an MVA, which is a motor vehicle accident. They started
Okay, that's good.
going to
Call
a
it what it
crash.
is.
Call it what it is. It's,
Yeah.
It's a crash.
Absolutely. And Wolford's a bad place to be, so definitely pay extra attention driving by there.
Yeah. And we talked probably 6 months ago on this very topic on the move over law.
Yes.
And basically, the simple rule is where we have here in Show Low, we have on our main streets the Deuce Clubs and 260, either what we call north and south, headed to Heber, headed to Pinetop. There's 2 lanes going in each direction. If you see an emergency vehicle alongside the road with their flashing lights on, to include ambulance, fire, police, also tow trucks that are there to pick up a vehicle, a disabled vehicle that's got their flashers on, you're to move over when safely able to do so. And if you're not, because there's so much traffic, you're supposed to slow down. And we were talking about that before the show.
Yes.
The law doesn't specifically state a speed, but when they say slow down, it's to a safe speed that you could stop in an instant. So in a 45-mile-an-hour zone, probably 20 to 25 is what you should slow down to until you pass that hazard.
No, I agree with that. You have to be able to
Yeah.
stop because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know the situation that's going on.
You don't know if something's going to happen there in the scene. Someone's going to fall backwards into it, into the roadway, or another kid's going to run out. You just don't know.
Well, and I know that in the fire department coming around, they park the truck so that there is a kind of a
We
block
try to
right
make
there.
the fire truck a barrier.
Yeah, which sucks that it has to be that way. But I know that sometimes there's a lot of training that goes into these firefighters, and I'm sure the same with the police, of you guys have to watch your surroundings because these people are become complacent and they don't see you. And it's just one more thing on top of dealing with the emergency situation that you're dealing with and whatever you have going on. It's just one more thing to add to that.
And as Fire Marshal Wood said, especially at night, when those emergency lights on, it's kind of like the bug zapper theory. When people see those lights going, they kind of naturally get drawn to it. And secondary reason is they want to see how bad the accident is or what's going on. So
Train wreck.
they naturally, and that's how a lot of officers get hit and get killed.
Yes.
Just that natural draw of the lights. So we really have to be focused around these emergency scenes.
And you guys brought in some statistics to kind of talk about. Do we want to share that with the group?
Yeah, nationwide since 2007, 127 emergency personnel have died.
Have been
as a result.
killed.
Have been killed.
Law enforcement.
Law enforcement
Law
only.
Just law enforcement. Just alone last year, we had 13 EMS and fire. Just from the statistics that I got, they only gave me. They gave his statistics from 2007 to 2016, as that many have been killed that have been killed in traffic, not hit. There's been a lot more hit that have lived through it that are now probably retired because of a lot of it. A lot of our people. These are the ones that have been killed.
Law enforcement lost 15 last year.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So
Yeah, just last year alone.
And then now this person is stuck with the fact that they killed somebody, and now they're probably in jail because they weren't paying attention, right? Well, don't they go to jail for that? If they get caught, or?
Well, yeah, we're definitely going to get caught over that one, for the most part. I haven't heard of any hit and runs that haven't been caught. But still, I mean, they got to live with themselves. You know.
At a minimum, yep.
At a minimum.
There could be manslaughter charges.
Yeah.
A lot of it on the law enforcement side, especially on the nighttime accidents where officers are killed, a lot of those are impaired drivers.
Yes.
So.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
then those charges can be brought up in those states that are applicable.
Now, do you guys have any specific trainings that your groups or your agencies go through to try to stop, this from happening internally? I mean, is there something that, if everything can be prevented, is it only can be prevented on this one side, or could have been prevented if maybe the police officer was not so involved in the case, or the firefighter looked before they went around the car? I mean, I know it's not their
You're
fault,
right.
but
and we both agencies do. They have
I think they do,
there's
yeah.
certain ways we park
Definitely.
vehicles to give ourselves a little barrier and a little time. So there are things that we do that, and obviously, when your back's turned, when you start to head back to your vehicle, you pay attention and make sure you're watching oncoming traffic. But we do park our vehicles. You'll see them offset, and there's a reason for that. And fire does that to protect a scene. They park it at an angle to protect all their routes.
We will try to get the engine at least blocking one lane, if not two, and then hopefully, I'd like to see is a lot more the officers around on the other side of it. Have the engine parked back far enough to where they can get in behind it where they don't get hit either. Because I've seen that happen before. My truck is usually one of the ones that is way in the back that's directing traffic and trying to slow them down to get them over to move over whatever direction when I come up on a scene.
Well, and with fire, there's usually a lot more help to direct traffic than there are with PD, because a lot of those are just they're speeding or blinker or whatever violations where somebody's pulled over, and you don't have 2 or 3 cops on scene normally in a
Right.
traffic
Right.
stop.
Right.
So
And there's only them, and that's it. And that's,
Yeah.
And I have seen, of course, you can watch YouTube all day long and see officers get hit, and see cars get sideswiped all the time on freeways and stuff like that. I don't know how it happens. I really don't. I don't understand how it happens.
Is that why you guys go on the passenger side of the vehicles?
That's one of the reasons.
One of the
yes.
reasons. I'm sure there's many.
Yes.
But it just works better. Because I remember when I was in high school, I might have gotten pulled over once or twice. And, and they,
I don't recall.
Yeah, I know. How did we meet? And they would come to my side of the door. And that was only like
Did you notice how the car was
barely
parked, though?
a few years
At
ago.
that point, did you notice how the car was parked?
Just straight behind me.
Most of the time,
Yeah.
they were sticking out a little bit further.
Well, yeah. Well,
It depends on.
I was
conditions.
over here
It
going,
depends on conditions. Yeah. But, yeah, nobody notices that.
yeah,
But
you
they're
know.
still trying to protect you at the same time,
Yeah, but at the time it was a lot of in traffic, and I'm not going to say how long ago that was, but it was a little bit ago
Yeah.
that happened. I've been ticket free for almost 10 years. Just putting that
I
out
have
there.
no recollection.
Did your insurance go down?
It did when I got on Rob's. Yes, it did. Whew. I didn't know insurance could be so cheap. But anyway, back to this. So what could you tell the community members? I mean, how can they get more information? I'm sure that they can go to this site
They can go to that respondersafety.com website
and get some information that way.
And that's where that's where we got the videos from to show, and they can look them up. They can look at. There's all different kinds of information. They have more websites that they can go to. I even contacted CDC to get these stats that we brought up today, and then they didn't have it specifically listed the way I wanted it. So I actually talked to somebody there. They sent me back another website that got more statistics.
Okay.
And still not broken down how I wanted it, but it was pretty much how we needed it though.
And we're going to take a quick break and watch another video, and then when we come back, we'll talk about it.
In 0.1 miles, turn right.
What the?
Recalculating. Don't step into traffic.
Huh?
Move the car off the road. It's safer.
I gotta let my insurance company.
They'll say the same. I'll call them.
No!
Move it.
I'm sorry.
If you have a minor accident, are not seriously injured, and your car is drivable, then move it.
Welcome back. You just watched Move It, and we're going to discuss a little bit about that. What did you guys think of the video?
I think it's a great one.
It's a
one?
great video, and that's very helpful. So one of those things that are very helpful to us as a police department is that if you're in a minor fender bender, nobody's injured, nobody's claiming injury, get your vehicle off the roadway. Get it off into the next intersection or private property piece that you can get off to, and let's clear that intersection. We're not the valley, so we don't have all these roadways that can go around. If anybody was out on the road, I think it was last week, where we tied up, people were in line for over 30 minutes because we had a bad accident.
You have to wait.
We have no alternate routes to get people around that. So I know there were a lot of people that were on Wolford, waited 15, 20 minutes there, had to turn around, come back and get in line on 260 and wait another 30 minutes. That's unfortunate. That's where we live. We try to clear those as fast as we can. We know it's a pain. And for us, any accident we have at Wolford, we've got to get it cleared as quickly as we can, because right there by Shantytown on the curve, if traffic backs up there, we have secondary accidents because people come around the corner too quick. We had one that same day. I come around, I'm trying to get up to the scene, and there's another 2-vehicle accident. Luckily, I was able to get them up and move them off. But going back to what I said, as long as nobody's injured and your cars are movable, get them off the roadway. Let's get that intersection going, because we move 1 million plus cars through the city of Shoalo a month, and we are averaging at least an accident a day, 25 to 30 accidents a month in the city of Shoalo. And where we went back to, accidents are preventable. So if people start paying attention, we can cut that in half. We're going to save a lot of money for people. Insurance rates go up every time you have an accident.
Or get pulled over.
Okay, that too.
Yeah, that's too.
But that is one of those things. In secondary, and Kelley can explain that to you, time is of the essence. So where we were talking about earlier, pull over for emergency vehicles. Not only do you have to pull over to the right, you have to stop and tell that emergency vehicle. I don't know how many times I'm driving an emergency and here's a car going right beside me. And I'm doing my air horn and trying to get to the scene, but also tell them, hey, stop.
Yeah.
You don't know where I have to turn. That's why you're supposed to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and we will, the engine, if the engine has to stop coming to an accident or to a fire, either way, because you don't slow down, or you go on by, you don't think it's worth your time, you just maybe caused. I mean, it might have only been 5 or 10 seconds. That 5 or 10 seconds could have been somebody's life. It could have been the decision on what we were going to do when we got on scene, on a fire scene. Anything involved. I mean, your house could go up that quick.
Be respectful of the incident they're
Right.
trying to get to.
That's basically what it is. Just be respectful.
And this last accident that I told you about on Wolford, on 260, it was somebody who was calling in to 911 to say they had their blinkers on and were driving their injured spouse to the hospital. So I can only imagine what happened there. They ended up in the accident. So they're trying to talk to the dispatcher. Next thing they know, there's a lot of screaming going on.
Sure.
And the dispatcher, what's going on? Well, we're just in an accident. Folks, there's emergency vehicles for a reason. There's ambulance and fire service. They're the professionals. Emergency vehicles are defined by state law as having a red and blue light,
Right.
and flashing lights and an audible siren. So people taking their spouse to the hospital and think they can drive over the speed limit is not proper and against the law.
And it put them back of getting to the hospital
Absolutely.
if something was the serious situation. And that's it. Because if I see an emergency vehicle, I know that there's an emergency. They have to get somewhere. If I see somebody with blinkers, I'm like, oh, their car, something's wrong with their car.
Right.
But
Get around them.
But when they pass you with those emergency flashers on, that's not right. They think that they can take the law into their own hands, and they really can't. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
And it would have been just that much more quicker if they'd have met an ambulance, just stopped, met the ambulance, or whatever, whatever the emergency is.
Absolutely. Kelley hit it on the head. So if you're in outlying areas and not in a municipality like Pinetop or Lakeside or Shoalo, and you've got to come in, make that call to 911.
Yes.
Get them meet both halfway.
Yeah.
We can dispatch an ambulance and have them meet you halfway and transport.
Yes.
And it's not a money-saving thing. I mean, this was a prime accident example of an accident that cost a lot more than it should have.
Well, and what are they going to do when they get to the hospital? Go in the ER and sign in?
Right.
You're going to go in the waiting room. But if you're in an ambulance, you're going to get right in through the back door, and they're going to wheel you in and right then.
Yes and no. I've seen them. I've seen people come in an ambulance and they put them out in the waiting room.
Depending on the
situation.
situation,
Depending on
yes.
the situation, the emergency, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I've seen them do that before too.
Which is fine, but if it was it's such an emergency, like this person thinks that all they have and the only avenue to get their wife to the hospital is for them to do it themselves,
Right.
they're mistaken. They have a
Yes.
lot of other avenues that are actually safer and a quicker response. I mean, you
Right.
have people in that ambulance, you get a paramedic and an EMT that are already providing care to that person
Sure.
before you get to the hospital.
Additionally, emotions get involved. So when
Yeah,
you try and
that's understandable.
you try and transport a loved one and get them to the hospital as quick as you can, there's a lot of emotions going through your head. So you're not paying attention to distractors. Whereas emergency personnel do this on a daily basis, drive at a little bit higher speed with lights and siren, and maneuver through traffic safely, day in and day out.
Yes.
And have the right of way when their lights are on.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And again, these people do not, which
And
that's just
another
the way
thing
it
is that the on-ramp, the center lane on-ramp. I don't know if any of you do that in Phoenix. They'll cite you for it, driving left of center.
really,
I have seen it done in Tempe. My wife got a ticket for it in Tempe.
I just thought it was another lane, the way that's treated up here.
And unfortunately, that's the way it is.
Yeah,
It
people
is
driving it for so long.
anytime you pass a driveway, you've just driven in left of center. Is how they consider it.
I think
Down
people should really, have to retake your driving test.
Oh, I agree. I don't know how many people
Yeah.
I attempt to pull over. I get at least 3 or 4 a month that I personally pull over, and I turn on my lights and they go left. They put on their blinker to go left.
Where are they going?
Yeah.
Trying to get off the roadway, but they think left is the safest way to do it, and then you've
Across
got traffic.
traffic?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I have these conversations with them all the time. So it goes back to that emergency vehicle. You see flashing lights, red and blue, pull to the right and stop.
If they're on the side of the road, slow down at least half your speed. At least half.
Yeah.
Towards the safe speed.
Well, I think that it would help with a little bit of road rage too if people had that and knew that if you're in the left lane, if you're in the right lane, which lane is it? Yeah, the left lane going down and the left lane coming back. That's where passing traffic. The right lane is where everybody's turning. That's slower traffic,
Right.
and you get a lot of people who just drive next to each other and back it up pretty good. I followed a guy from Holbrook today, and he rode right next to a semi. I'm like, I learned that in class. And when I took driving
That's
class,
wrong. Yeah.
you don't do this. And you see the semi, the back's constantly doing this because he's trying to get around this person. This person passed the semi, and the semi passed him 3 times from Holbrook. And I'm like, you're kidding me. Back off or speed up.
We could have a whole hour-long segment on
We could.
driving.
That's true.
Yes,
That's
we
true.
could.
But would they listen?
Well, I hope so.
That's the purpose of your show today.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
trying to make them aware of what's going on. And there is a new law out there. I shouldn't say is it a new law?
No.
It's been around for
3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years now. There's signs all over the highway, everywhere. If you have to go to the valley, you see the signs. No matter what direction you go, it says slow down and move over for an emergency vehicle or not. I don't remember exactly how it was, but
Oh yeah.
do it.
Well, and this one came into law last year when we talked about 6 months ago.
No, it's
so-
actually been 3 or 4 years.
Oh.
It's probably the first
Yeah.
time we've talked about it on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we
Sure.
talked 6 months ago a
Yes.
little bit about it, but yeah, this is a little bit. Oh, well,
And
I did it anyway. I'm
It's
just
getting
saying.
worse. It's getting worse up here, though.
Yes,
It is.
It is,
Yes.
and you
it's
and you
just a
notice
matter
it.
of time before something happens.
Well, it's just causing more accidents.
Yes.
And
People
it's
not paying attention.
and it's causing the ambulance not to make it to the ambulance to the hospital in time, or it's just if everybody drove correctly, the flow of traffic would be better, accidents would be significantly decreased, and people would get to the hospital in a safe and professional manner by using the ambulance.
Right.
So,
Right.
and I can see the frustration on both sides,
Yes.
especially as a driver that gets irritated up here quite easily and often. And it didn't stop.
Welcome to the White Mountains.
I know. Well, the summer, you get into the summer part and you're like, oh, don't take a left. Nobody's going to make a left turn for the next few months.
it.
Don't worry about it.
Well, and that's
it.
another point.
Yes.
Plan your route.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to go into the winter months. If you're in a certain intersection, try and get on a major roadway. Don't plan on going left. You're going to have a hard time doing it once the snow starts hitting. Plan
Oh,
to
yeah,
go
with that
right
bank.
and- yeah, there's a lot of things, and it's the same thing. Plan your route, where you're going, plan your time, and if you're running a little late, don't think speeding up is going to get you there faster. It's not going to diminish that much time off your drive time. It really is not.
Especially on ice.
No, that's true. Which is
You have no control.
Well, right now we're not getting any moisture,
Right,
and it's
but still.
freezing. So if somebody spills something, you're going to have a slip,
Yeah.
especially outside.
It's coming.
Was winter coming?
Yes,
Winter is coming?
I believe so.
Winter doesn't start until the 21st.
I'm making
Really?
this prediction.
You're making a prediction?
Absolutely.
Because it's dry for the next 10 days. I just want to let you know.
Oh,
No, it
I know.
says.
We're going to get winter in January, February, March, and late snow in May again.
There goes my Mother's Day again.
Mark it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's just been that type of fall.
Really?
And early winter.
Yeah.
well, I hope so. Not to get into the fire end of it, but it needs to pack down that, all that brush that grew.
No, it's not so much packing. It's getting the moisture into the ground, and
Yeah.
the snow is what does it. We need the snow. So
Yeah. Well, anything else?
I can't think of anything. Can you?
No?
Well, thanks again for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And we're going to end on this video, and we'll see you next month.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
And move over.
When you see lights,
Vests. Or reflectors.
Please, give us some room. Slow down and move over.
when you need us,
We've got your back.
You have ours.
You got our back?
You got ours? You got our back? Please, slow down.
And move over.